Tell me what's your point of view? What's your point of view? Tell me what's your point of view? It is your view. Point of view. Point of view. What's your point of view? It's time to hear from you. Welcome to Point of View. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. We are here in the Visions Video Production Studio. I'm here with my brother, Overseer Hamilton. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. So you have now, you've been pastoring for how long?
12 years as of January the 13th.
Wow, 12 years.
I've been preaching for over 21 years.
And that he does preach. When I tell you he gets it in, he gets it in. I was like, if he shake that fist one more again, that's when you know he in. When he starts shaking that fist and jumping and shucking,
pray for
we
us.
know you in. But congratulations, you have 2 ministries now.
Yep.
So let's talk about ministry in general. With the experience that you have, at a young age, I might add, you've done so much. And to me personally, I feel like pastor years is different than people years.
True.
Because
I agree.
you get hit with so much that if within 5 years, some people may never see in a lifetime. The experience and the interactions.
Exactly.
I know it's God, but what are some other things that help you say, all right, I'm going to go to church today? When you had a moment.
Well, I know that having learned a prayer life young, and I know, and he said, I know God, but there's some other things you have to also think about. You know, I was always taught that, you pray without ceasing. And I know for me, ministry, I remember, and he might be, at a later time, my best friend in school, and at a later time we'll talk more intricately, and I'll remind him of this. Levert Todd. He told me one day, I was in a science class, he said, you know what, you're a minister. And he had one of his dad's books. I'm not lying to you. And he said, it had definitions of elder, minister, all that. And he said, this is what you do. And he said, you minister to people, you meet their needs. And it was in that moment that I felt like, wow, there's more into me or in me just than being a pastor's child. I was helping people beyond a pulpit or a microphone. So I think that's what empowers me to keep coming back to church, is that my life is not just to preach and to be behind a pulpit, but actually I touch lives. And I'm a great counselor. I love people, and people don't even realize that I'm very introverted. If I'm home, if I'm amongst my family, I'm very quiet. I'm very into myself. I read books. I pray. I rest. But I think that's what keeps me pushing, is that I have more to offer than just what happens in church.
That's interesting that you would say that, because I would have to agree that if you just come into a room, you're going to be kind of to yourself. But when he get that microphone, listen, that goes out the window. He is all over the place, stepping on your toes and your hands. The hands. The hands, because they trying to crawl out. So they stepping on the hands.
Oh, God.
But I do have to agree with that. But that's interesting. But there was a time where you didn't want to speak because you had difficulty speaking.
Oh, wow. Amanda is going all the way there. This is great. Oh, this is a surprise. Let me use her camera. It's a little surprise. Well, you are all on point, and thank you for bringing that out. It's a good reminder. I'm very, I stammer, when I'm talking, I have a stutter, and it's inherited by my father. And I was very, very self-conscious about my talking. And my mom says I have a Geechee language. My father's from the South. But my mom is what helped me get through the fear of speaking in front of people. And she's very intellectual. She's very encouraging. And she sat me down. She said, slow down, formulate your words, take your time. If anyone knows me in ministry, if I'm behind the pulpit, you will rarely hear me stutter, rarely hear me talk fast, because it's the anointing that makes a difference. And I think I'm likened unto Moses, that it keeps me humble. It keeps me understanding that, there's a thorn given into my flesh, but His grace is sufficient. It's enough. So it keeps me humble. I love my Geechee language, my fast talk. And if you really know me, you know what I'm saying. If you don't, you need a translator. But to God be the glory.
And that is interesting because when you were youth pastor in the church in Delaware, and after church we always sat around and ate, or so we was always in fellowship even after the service. And to sit and eat, you would have that stutter, but soon as you pick up that mic, it was like almost gone. So it was just interesting to see that that transition. So you knew that it was more than you. Yes, so ma'am. It's like, okay, go on with your bad self. But even then, it's like, just looking back at those times, it's like if you were speaking, then the young people were coming. If it was an event that like Hayward's on up front, up next, the people, the next thing you know, the door open and people be feeling like he move over. I'm like, I need to put my pocketbook on this shit. Like, can y'all move it? But it was a good thing, so I'm not surprised. I guess everybody will have their own view, but I'm not surprised because you and your brother always were the ones welcoming people in. Praise when God. They came in, and that they always saw you guys. So it's in there. It's like ragu is in there. All that good stuff is in there. So to see you in ministry, I just can only give you kudos because I know it's not easy. Listen, I have never had a church, but just being a youth pastor, being an elder, woo! I don't pray for the pastors. That's all I'm gonna say. Pray for the pastors. But there was a quote like, if you're not a leader, be someone that you would want to follow.
That's good. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So just to hear quotes like this always makes me think about church, because church can be difficult. So as far as for a pastor to another pastor that might be watching, what would be something you would say to them as far as looking past the hurtful things that people do?
Good question. This is something that I think it goes beyond just being raised in it. It goes beyond being taught love. Forgiveness for me does not mean access. And I think what I've done in my life is I've altered my connections with people. I'm going to tell you one misnomer. There's two things I want to say. One, I want to say this, is we need to get away from the whole millennial, baby boomers, Generation X. I think we run it into the ground. I'll be 40 on March 12th this year. But like you said, I was very involved with the young people, and I still am. My church is 80% young adults. So I think that's why I have that flair about me. But I have not subscribed to the y'all millennials, y'all different, we Generation X. I think if we kill that misnomer, we will win more people to God and the church and to Christ. But back to what you asked me is this father-son spirit. If you want to talk about that real quick. I know Elisha, for years, Elisha never called Elijah father until after almost 13 years. If you read the Bible in Kings. And a lot of times in church, and I must be the first partaker, we defect to this personal relationship with people. And that if they change, if they leave, if they hurt us, then they strip us of all of our feelings, our emotions, and our heart, and leave our church. They say they don't like us anymore. I think we need to put a distance between us and the people. And that's why I've been so stable in loving people and embracing what folks do, because I don't allow folks to get that close. I know folks may think, well, you're a pastor. You know me. I'm very personable. I love, I embrace, I talk, I mentor. But I don't allow people to have that space with me that if they change, then I die. They can't have that much power over me. And I watched my father do that. I watched my father and my mother be so kind and so knitted. And I watched them be hurt by people right in the church. Watch this. Here goes the key part. That they help the most. It's like you will think the fight will come from foreigners, but it's the one that they invested into the most. And I've been there too, but I keep my balance. And that's why, and for any pastor who's out there, I would advise you to make people prove themselves to you. First of all, not just to you, but to God first. That's the first thing. But don't get to the point where you're so personable and so intercorrelated that you can make a distinction and you can continue in their absence. Yeah, that's another lesson very early in pastoring.
Yeah, that pastor's
member,
son, daughter, it has to have a balance. It has to have a balance.
Indeed so.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some words of empowerment from Overseer.
Will you marry me? Will you marry? What's going on, family? It's your boy Jeff Morrell. I am here with my man Nathan Jacobs. He has an incredible project called Look Forward. I had an amazing opportunity to work on 2 songs on this record. One called Perfect Love and the other one called Show Me Your Face. You'll love it. Go to all platforms to pick it up. iTunes, Spotify, Rhapsody, anywhere you can find music, YouTube, it's there. You need this project in your life. I feel like y'all will be calling me to do your wedding for Perfect Love. Let's go. I'm available for bookings. We are available for bookings. Let's go. Nate Jacobs, Look Forward. Peace. Will you marry me? Will you marry?
It's time to hear from you. Welcome to Boyfriend.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here in the studio with Overseer Hamilton, and awesome man of God, flows in the spiritual, prophetic, heavily anointed. So we're going to give him the platform to give some words of empowerment.
I want to first say thank God for this platform, and may the blessing of God be upon this. You and your husband doing a great job, but thank God for this open door. I want to talk about inactivity, and there's a scripture in the text, in the New Testament, that speaks about 5 colonnades of people who were lame, were halt, were impotent, they were blind, and they all found themselves in a colonnade or 5 different porches, Solomon's porch, and they were there, and they were pretty much waiting to be healed. And I was thinking in my head, first question was, how did they get there? And the first thing that came to my mind is that people of like struggles and like deficiencies find each other out. And they were all with the same struggle. So my first thing is this, to all of you who are watching in this season, connect with people who are bigger than you. Don't ascertain the folks who have your same issues, because, blind lead the blind. They're going to both fall into a ditch. That's the first thing. But the second thing is that where there is inactivity, there is lack of faith. And inertia is when something or a force moves against something and that thing remains what it is. If I push you, or if I push this chair, if it falls, it's still a chair. And I think the issue is we're scared of momentum. We're scared of being pushed. I want to prophesy and proclaim to all of you who are watching in this season, don't be afraid to be pushed. There's a momentum that comes with you when you decide to let God have his way. And you might be lame. You might not have a job. You might not have an education. You might not have graduated high school. But get into something that's going in a place of being pushed or a momentum. Don't stay inactive. Don't remain stagnant. No one knows that there's a gift that's deeper inside of you than just what they see. People always want to push you. That's the preaching, and push you to pastoring. There's more in you. There's a marketplace anointing on your life. There's things in the government. We need a new president. There are things happening in our world. So in this season, do not be inactive. Do not stay in a place where you're not being motivated to move. Get moving, get a vision, get a dream, get a goal, get an activity, work the work of him that has sent you while it's yet day, for the night comes and no man can work. So that's my inspiration. Keep moving. Don't stop moving.
Don't stop moving. Can't do it. So you have some books. Can you just touch on?
I will touch. I have a book now that's on Amazon.com called Power Struggles, forwarded by Jamal Bryant. Dr. Jamal Bryant, and you can order it on Amazon. I Say What He Says is my first freshman book. It's not on Amazon yet, but I'm going to be ordering that very soon. I'm on my 3rd book now, so you'll be hearing some about that later on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I had to throw that in there. He has a lot of hats. He's a father, pastor, author. He has a lot going on.
Praise
so we
God.
just wanted to make sure, to wrap this session up with some words of empowerment.
I appreciate that.
Keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving. Don't stop.
You can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you stop, So if they say, okay, you're going to lay there, you might as well be dead. You're going to stay right there. You got to keep moving, got to keep moving, got to keep moving, going to keep saying it. You got to keep moving. Indeed. So if somebody wanted to visit you,
we are at 16, no, currently we're at 1612 North DuPont Highway in Newcastle, Delaware at the Clarion Hotel, Conquering Power Church of Deliverance in Delaware. And I also pastor the Empowerment Tabernacle at CPCOD in Absecon, New Jersey, 101 Pleasant Avenue, Absecon, New Jersey. So meet us there on Wednesdays. We're there Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, 12 noon every Wednesday at the Wednesday Well. That's our prayer gathering on Wednesdays, and every Sunday in Delaware at 10:45 a.m.
All right, there you have it. Listen, I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Dropping those seeds of wisdom through the word. It's been a pleasure. So we will see y'all next time. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Take me back to where we were before. Summer 2012 was the best I ever known. 'Cause one of those days you came my way, made it hard to stay away. I felt the chemistry on it. Was it written on my face when you gave me a time and place and took me on the perfect date? Oh, oh. Look at how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come, and how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come. Yeah, we were really cute back then, but let's get to the truth. Back when it wasn't always easy, you did your best just to please me. And even when I gave you a hard time and couldn't tell you what was on my mind, oh, you were persistent. Made sure I knew what I'd be missing. How far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come, and how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come. The naysayers, heartbreakers, debaters, and player haters will do what they will, but here we are still. The naysayers, heartbreakers, debaters, and player haters will do what they will, but here we are still. Look at how far